people, if I saw an element of social action being taken by that person, it used to make me want to know more about what that person actually does and why, what was the incentive for doing that. It always shows the person as being a little more socially aware, as an aware citizen. And I would prefer to have somebody like that on my team than somebody, say, who is, yes, got great grades, is academically inclined, has done a lot of degrees, but has not had any exposure to any sort of community activity. And that's not just because I'm working in the social sector. I know that even corporates look for that. They want to see, and we get a lot of students who come for that certification, and why not? Because volunteering does eventually have a long-term impact on you as a human being and definitely on your careers also. Emotional and mental well-being, sense of purpose, definitely. Gives you a sense of purpose, it gives you a sense of satisfaction, it gives you a sense of accomplishment. It's a great stress relief. You spend half a day cleaning up a beach, you go back feeling really good about what you have done. You're able to put your personal challenges, something that has bothered you, aside for a while because you've done something which matters to society, to the environment. So it's a great thing to do it for that reason also. Civic responsibility, yes. Understanding community needs, actually understanding why you're doing something. If you're going, say, to a school on a weekend to read to children over there or in a community center, you know why you're doing that. Because these children really don't have those reading skills. Then it makes you think also, what more can I do? What more can I do, and can I bring in others also? So then slowly that's how the ripple effect starts, because you understand what are the civic responsibilities that can come only when you exert yourself. And the long-term engagement. One-off activities, sure. A beach cleanup done once a quarter, absolutely. That's also volunteerism, which is very important. But equally important is that little thought which comes in your head that maybe I can do this every weekend. It's just a question of 1 month, 1 hour. Can I go to the community center and join that adult literacy class and help those adults sitting over there who come from the slum on how to learn how to sign? As simple as that. But that's possible only because then it becomes a part of the way you start thinking. So if we keep all this in mind, imagine the transformative potential if even a fraction of us over here consider volunteering. If all of us consider volunteering, amazing. Then the impact surely has a ripple effect. But even if a fraction of us do that, even then the ripple effect is going to be amazing. But I think all of us as Indians should know, volunteering is there in our culture. Seva. We all know about Seva, right? Samaj Seva. We all know what Samaj Seva is. So that's there in our culture. It's just that a more structured way of volunteering is something that we should all be now trying to look at. Not that one-off going and giving something to the temple, which is also great, I agree. But doing something where you can actually contribute to the society is something we should also be able to look at. So what I'm trying to say is, it's there in our culture. We just need to activate that and get that into our way of life. So I'm going to share a few examples of the ripple effect. How volunteerism transforms the beneficiary in measurable ways and transforms the volunteers in immeasurable ways. So you may have heard of Akshay Patra Foundation. Anyone? Akshay Patra? Yeah. So what does Akshay Patra do? It prepares nutritious midday meals for serving to municipal and government school children. This is an amazing program because a lot of these children, this is the only meal they get in the day. And that makes them come to school. Because they know if I come to school, I'll get that meal. And that is being like a magnet to get children back into school. And Akshay Patra has always maintained that the food has to be nutritious. We've had volunteers who go and work with Akshay Patra just to know how the food is being prepared, what can I do to help in the serving of the food, going understanding how much the child actually benefits is the first step in going and volunteering. The ripple effect is when you understand that by your action of making sure that the child gets good food, not only is the child's nutritive levels improving, the child is becoming healthier, the child has started paying more attention to the class, what is happening in class, the child gets a good education. That is again a huge ripple effect by your action. One. So eventually when the child leaves the school as a healthy individual, you know that somewhere you have played a role in that because you started volunteering in doing the serving of the food. The other example I would like to share with you is our national initiative, and that is Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, the Clean India Mission. When this was launched in 2014, the objective was to make India clean and free of open defecation. So it was a government-led initiative, but the success happened only when individuals started joining. People started joining in the cleanup campaigns. People started doing cleanup in their communities. College students got it. School students got it. Corporates got their employees to join. This became a ripple effect, and this has been one of the most successful programs, the Swachh Bharat Mission, because it went across the country. So when we spoke about Akshay Patra, that was something local that we were doing. Here we're looking at a national ripple effect where we were able to look at the long-term vision of wanting to make our country clean. So this initiative demonstrated collective responsibility as individuals, and they felt a shared responsibility over here to make sure the sanitation and cleanliness in the country improved. So it's a question of just setting your mind to doing something, and then you know that I can always say, एक दिन मैं जाके वहाँ पे साफ करूँगी, what is the use का, तो फिर से गंदा होने वाला है. No. When I start doing that regularly, I see to it that in the corner of that road, kachra will not be thrown. Eventually, that message will go through, and eventually there will be others who will see to it कि वहाँ पे कचरा नहीं फेंकना चाहिए, and more people start joining in that. So then you are able to see the ripple action into your one action that you had initiated. The other one that I want to tell you about is the wall of kindness, and this is global. So while we've seen a local, national, I'm going to also give you an example of a global ripple effect initiative. This is the wall of kindness, which I think started in, I think it was in Iran, where, not everyone likes to beg, right? There is a sense of dignity you also feel. But then you're not able to also get money. And in the cold season, you are short of warm clothes, but you don't know how to get, you can't go and ask anybody that please give me money, I need to buy warm clothes. And one individual who realized that this is a challenge with many people, because out of sheer dignity, they will never come and ask me for money. So it is up to me to see to it that these people who have that dignity that is coming in the way should not suffer in the cold. So he started the wall of kindness. I'm forgetting what it is called. I think it's called Mehrbani, something, Darwaza. It has a local thing also. Outside the wall of this house, he put up hooks and he encouraged people to hang their pre-loved, good condition clothes over there, warm clothes, and encouraged anyone who wanted those clothes to come and take them. So you could come at your time when you know nobody's over there, take whatever you want, and not have that feeling that I have to beg or somebody has given it to me out of done. So this wall of kindness was found such a good way of, one individual's thought and the way that you could help others and still maintain that person's dignity, that this became slowly a growing movement. So along with clothes, people started keeping boxes of food, they started keeping books, they started keeping toys, and now you have this wall of kindness in India too, in so many places. What's the next one? Okay, so if you see here, this picture, I don't know whether it's clear, you can see hooks on the top. That's where they would hang the clothes, and all those boxes are things that people will just come and keep. Either they would keep separate bins saying these bins are for clothes, these bins are for toys, and volunteers would come and clear it. These are all amazing examples of the ripple effect of the vision of one individual and how these became massive movements. So why should students volunteer? Firstly, personal growth. I think that's something all of us know it's unimaginable the amount of growth that you go through as an individual, mentally. I mean, not just academically, but as a human being. Essential skills like communication will improve when you have to go to, say, an old age home and volunteer over there. You have to know how to speak to those those people over there without making them feel undermined in any way, maintaining their dignity. And also, because, to be able to get your message across, it could be different with children, it could be different if you're working with, say, civic authorities. So your communication skills will just go through the roof. Huge leadership qualities, because you then are leading teams. So I've seen really quite shy students who just want to do something different, and within 6 months that person shows the most amazing leadership qualities that that person did not know existed in the student, in themselves. And the ability to problem solve. You have to think on your feet. You go to a place, maybe you're going to a beach to clean up, and then you find that I don't have equipment to, say, dig the soil. Some of the kachra has gone a little deep, but I need to, how do I do that? How do I make sure that the kachra that has been collected does not go back into the water again? How do I see to that it's collected in a place where then it can be given to the BMC? So you've got to problem solve on your feet. There could be some volunteers who will ask you questions because they see you as a leader, and you don't know the answer, but you can't say, I'm sorry, I don't know, because now you're the leader. So problem solving becomes second nature to you then. So for example, there was this group of IIT students in Chennai who decided that every weekend they will go to a center, an orphanage, and teach coding to those children. Because now everything is about coding, right? Coding is there. All children in school, I think right from 3rd standard or something, I don't understand coding at all, of course. But they said, let us do that. And then as they started going and teaching the students, they started coming up with challenges, And then they realized that I need to actually work on this. If I want this code or this program to be successful, these are the bugs in it that I need to sort out. So, as you're working, you also start developing your own skills, because you are now problem solving. Networking and career opportunities, definitely. Networking for sure, because I'll take my own example. When I left the corporate sector and I came to the non-profit sector, I met people I would never have otherwise met. Never. People at the grassroots level, people in the government, people, civic authorities, the municipal corporation, other NGOs, and suddenly I was networking with people I had never even knew that they were, around. So your networking opportunities and skills will increase a lot when you start your volunteering in communities. Career opportunities, yes. You heard of Teach for India? So Teach for India encourages students to volunteer in their spare time, right? So you could either be a fellow where you're actually working as a teacher, or you can be a volunteer with a fellow, who's under the fellowship. Both ways, your exposure is amazing. A lot of corporates look for Teach for India students because they believe that they are more empathetic human beings, because they have had that experience. Or anyone who's a Gandhi fellow or an SBI fellow, you have a lot of fellowship programs. Students who have done these programs, they believe are better in their work. So you get career opportunities. Mental and emotional fulfillment, absolutely. That's something we all know is there. A sense of fulfillment that you've done something for somebody who's less fortunate, always. Mental strength that you derive from that, knowing that you are actually in a better place than the others, I probably need to solve my challenges better now because I know there are so many others that I've just met who are definitely in a worse position than I am. So you get that power or that will to fight your own challenges also. Volunteers are known to return to places again. Like if they want to an old age home or they want to an orphanage, they come back again and again because of the immense joy and purpose they find in helping the residents of these homes and a huge sense of fulfillment that no material reward can replace. How do you start volunteering? I'll tell you my own example. It was, I think, in college, of course, the college, like you have the NSS, we didn't have NSS those days, but college used to, take us out in groups for some clean-up drives and, activities like that. And that was the first taste of doing something outside of my normal routine. But when I got married and I came to Mumbai, by then I had this thing that I'm really leading a very, very safe, secluded, comfortable life, and there is a world outside that I need to understand more. That started bothering me, but I didn't know how to go about it. How do you actually go? I mean, I can't just go to an NGO and say I can't do that actually now, but I didn't know how to go about it those days, So how do I actually take that first step, which is going to set me on this journey to be a volunteer and give back to the community? It is actually those baby first steps that I took so many years back that made me realize I need to leave my corporate sector job and move to the non-profit sector. Identify your passion. What is it that really resonates with you? Is it the environment? I feel very strongly about trees being cut. I hate seeing areas where there is no greenery. Is it children? I don't like, I get disturbed when I hear of children not getting their dues in orphanages, or they're not academically on the same level as, say, my own child. What is it that is something that drives you? Try and identify that. Start small and local. I started joining community activities in my own locality. Cleanup drives, collection drives. Every time a disaster happened, you collect old clothes, you collect food, you collect money. It's very, very difficult to ask others for things. I realize that. When there's a disaster, not everyone donates. But if you have that in you, that I'm not doing it for myself, I'm going to go home to home and see what I can get because I have to be able to help somebody else. That was the first step for me. And realizing that that ask and that hesitation that is there is something I have to put outside my line of, my comfort zone and go and do that. So that comfort zone is something that you have to be able to get out of because you know that I have to do something for somebody else. You can leverage technology. You are so socially aware, you know what are the online platforms. I can mention a few online platforms that you can probably look at. You have iVolunteer, you have the United Nations online volunteering program, you have Kailash Satyarthi's virtual volunteer program, there's an organization called Team Everest. These are all online platforms where you can actually go and register your name. They'll ask you what is it that actually excites you or where you want to be involved, and they will match you. We didn't have all that in our days, So it's much simpler for you all to find out where it is that you may want to do. And you might say, I want to work remotely, I want to work from my home. I don't want to go out at all. Even that is something that these organizations are able to match you with. Collaborate with friends for greater impact. As I told you, collection drives, household goods, clothes. You have doctors who would form group. Like one doctor friend of mine, when there was a disaster, knew that if I have to do something, I have to not get other common people around. Common people will always be there to help in clearing and all. But doctors have to get other doctors to come with you. So getting other doctors together and do the collaboration is a great way to cause a ripple effect. So I'll give you another example. IT students or engineers conducting digital literacy programs in rural India. So, these groups coming together with the same objective. Like, I know my skill set is technology. I'll get people who are tech based to come and work with me. So I form this group and I go and do something. Will there be challenges? Yes, but they can be managed. Time management, always the first problem. My day is so packed. I leave home at 6 o'clock and I reach back only at 9. And the whole day I'm either in my college or I'm traveling, or then I got to come home and then I've got to help my mom cook, or I've got to cook myself. So I just am not able to spare that time. Believe me, if you set your mind to it, 1 hour a week is any day possible. So time management again is something in your hands, and do it. Set realistic goals. Don't say, I will every day I'm going to teach a child in the evening after I go back home. It will not work. Start off with that 1 hour a week and see how then it grows more. Skepticism. मेरे एक दिन सफाई करने से क्या फायदा होगा? Will that child really benefit if I go and read to that child once a week? Not really, because rest of the week anyway the child is going to be in the same environment. Don't let that skepticism come in your mind. You will be able to do that, make a difference, and it is definitely that one step that you are going to take. Believe me in that. I've seen it at close quarters and I completely advocate for that. That skepticism is something you have to address. Any one of you heard of Afrosia? Warsaw Beach? Yeah? Afrosia was like this. That same skepticism, my God, this beach and Warsaw Beach was filthy. कुछ फायदा नहीं है, ये बीएमसी आती है महीने में एक बार, वो ट्रैक्टर चला के पूरा कचरा लेके जाती है. देखो next day you can see कचरा है. So Afrosia decided, doesn't matter, I am going to go every, I think he used to go every Saturday and Sunday, because I used to join him for a while, and I am going to clean. Eventually today, Warsaw Beach has the certification of being the cleanest beach in Mumbai. It's taken him years. Never gave up. He is now so highly decorated by the United Nations and other environment organizations. He's like a global speaker because of that. But it's all because he was able to address that skepticism and make that first initial step. Or you heard of Sundarlal Bahuguna? Chipko Andolan? One person who said, no, this degradation of the ghats will not happen. I am going to hug this tree, this one tree I am going to save. So, seeing that one tree being saved, others came. So, skepticism will be there. Kya itne to trees hai, if somebody cuts 10 trees, doesn't really make a difference. And skepticism has to be avoided. Sustainability, certainly. Consistency. Overcome your hesitation, overcome the feeling that it's okay, I mean, if I don't do it, there will be others doing it. Overcome that and make sure that you stay sustained in your objective of being a volunteer. So, here's my call to action for all of you. I want to leave you with this thought. Every great movement in history started with individuals who cared enough to act. You have the power to be that individual. Whether you're mentoring a child, you're cleaning a park, or advocating for change, your actions matter. They are going to create ripples that transform not just communities, but they are going to transform the world, because it is a ripple effect. So I am going to challenge you today. What will your ripple effect be? I want all of you to think. What is the ripple effect that I am capable of starting? How will you unleash the power of volunteerism to make a difference? Can you make that difference? That's something I'm going to ask all of you to think. Can you commit just 1 hour a week for a cause that you care about? So if you can do that, you can imagine the ripple effect that all of you are going to create. And you can imagine how massive that ripple effect is going to be if everyone in this room are able to take that first step. So let me end with this quote from Mother Teresa. He said, I alone cannot change the world, but I can cast a stone across the water and create many ripples. Or what Margaret Mead said. Margaret Mead, you know where? She's an anthropologist, right? Yeah. She said something which is also very relevant to us. She said, never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it is the only thing that ever has. So, with these two thoughts,